Banjo. Today marks 17 years since the 9/11 terror attacks, which devastated the United States of America and shocked the rest of the world. Almost 2 decades on, there are reflective reminders of that horrific day as the world pays tribute to victims of the multiple attacks.
America is marking the 17th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. 9/11 goes down in history as the deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil. It involved a series of airline hijackings and suicide attacks committed by 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda against targets in the United States, killing about 3,000 people, with over 6,000 others injured and causing at least $10 billion in infrastructure and property damage. The National Commission on Terrorist Attacks, set up in 2002, identified Khalid Sheikh Mohammed of Kuwait and Osama bin Laden of Saudi Arabia as masterminds of the attacks, while Al-Qaeda provided the personnel, money and logistical support. No doubt, the September 11 attacks were an enormous tactical success for Al-Qaeda. The strikes were well coordinated and hit multiple targets. The attacks were magnified by being broadcast around the world to an audience of untold millions. The Trump administration has clearly shown dedication to the America First philosophy to forestall a recurrence of 9/11 with a foreign policy with focus on security. President Trump has claimed that immigration is negatively changing the culture of Europe, saying a fence built along Israel's border with Egypt has been a great success in keeping out migrants, mainly from African nations. The process of building a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border started weeks after President Trump's inauguration. Under the Trump leadership, the Department of Homeland Security released enhanced security measures to ensure safer commercial air travel. In a statement, Deputy White House Press Secretary Raj Shah said President Trump has raised the bar for the nation's aviation safety and security. Unquote. The president is pleased there were no commercial airline deaths in 2017 and hopes this remains consistent in 2018 and beyond. Part of the security measures included a laptop ban from the cabins on certain international flights to the United States. As the U.S. marks the 17th anniversary of 9/11, more than 1,100 victims of the attacks have yet to be identified. But with progress in technology, efforts are still on in a New York lab to identify the remains of many in the mass cremation. On a brighter note, a New York City subway station has reopened for the first time since it was destroyed 17 years ago. This year, the first couple will head to Philadelphia to participate in Tuesday's Samba Remembrance in Shanksville, where hijackers crushed a California-bound commercial airliner on September 11, 2001. As America and the rest of the world remember the Black Day in modern history, 9/11, there is need to continually decry terrorism in all its forms and promote the UN cause for a peaceful world.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. has ordered Iran to pay $104.7 million to victims of June 1996 truck bombing in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, that killed 19 U.S. military personnel. Chief Judge Beryl Howell on Monday entered a default judgment against Iran and the Revolutionary Guard Corps, which did not defend against claims over their roles in the attack, which shared off the front of the Khobar Towers complex. The lawsuit sought damages under the so-called terrorism exception to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, though it is unclear when and how the plaintiffs might collect. A suicide bomb attack in eastern Afghanistan's Nangarhar province has killed at least 19 people and injured more than 55 people. Some reports claim that 22 people have died and the toll is expected to rise. The attacker targeted a protest gathering in Momanddara district. Hundreds of people had gathered to block a highway in protest against the appointment of a local police chief, provincial governor spokesperson Ataullah Kogiani has said. No terrorist organisation has claimed responsibility for the attack yet.